The tires hummed a hypnotic tune against the rain-slicked asphalt of the Ozarks. It was deep into the night, the kind of darkness that swallows headlights whole. In the back, my wife and kids were fast asleep, their quiet breathing the only sound in the car besides the rhythmic drumming of the rain. My own eyelids felt like they were lined with lead. They started to sag, and I felt the gentle pull of the car as it began to drift toward the shoulder. It was that dangerous, drowsy moment every late-night driver knows and fears. Then, everything changed. The dead radio, silent for hours, suddenly roared to life. It wasn't static. It was a raw, distorted snarl of outsider punk music, the kind you'd never hear on a commercial station, played on what sounded like a homemade cigar box guitar. The sound was electric, visceral, and it jolted me awake better than any cup of coffee could. A gravelly, booming voice cut through the music, a voice that sounded like it was dredged up from the bottom of a whiskey barrel. "I'm the Shoals Boogie Man," it declared, on WBULLM radio from beyond the veil. "Wake up, late-night driver." My heart hammered against my ribs. Adrenaline surged through me, a chemical jolt chasing away every last trace of sleep. The music slammed from that punk snarl into a frantic, foot-stomping rockabilly beat that seemed to vibrate through the very frame of the car. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, and guided the car back into the center of the lane. Ahead, a beacon of light cut through the misty rain, a glowing neon gas station, looking like an oasis in the vast, dark wilderness. I pulled in, the gravel crunching under the tires. The sudden stop woke my family. "Everything okay?" my wife asked, rubbing her eyes. "Yeah," I said, my voice a little shaky. "Just thought we could all use some coffee and snacks." As we piled back into the car, warm drinks in hand, the world felt a little more solid, a little less surreal. The radio was back to its usual dead static. My wife was scrolling through her phone, a small smile playing on her lips. "Hey, listen to this," she said, reading from an online forum about local legends. "There's a story here about a ghost DJ from the 50s called the Shoals Boogie Man. He used to broadcast on an old AM station, WBULL. The legend says he died in a crash on a night just like this, but his spirit still hijacks the airwaves when a tired driver needs him most. They say he broadcasts from the other side to keep them safe." I glanced at the silent radio, a chill running down my spine that had nothing to do with the cold night air. The music, the voice, it all clicked into place. I didn't say anything, just whispered a silent thank you into the darkness of the car. Pulling back onto the foggy highway, the rockabilly rhythm still echoed in my head, a phantom beat guiding us through the night. We drove on, the Ozark hills rolling by like sleeping giants in the mist. As we neared the town of Harrison, a figure materialized in my headlights. It was a man, standing right on the shoulder of the road. He wore a vintage leather jacket, the kind you'd see on a 50s greaser, and he was holding a cigar box. My blood ran cold. I slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching on the wet pavement. But when I looked again, the road was empty. There was no one there. My wife and kids stirred, asking what was wrong, but I couldn't explain the mirage I'd just seen. Shaken, I put the car in drive and continued on, my eyes scanning the road ahead. Then I saw it. Sitting on my dashboard, where nothing had been a moment before, was a small yellowed business card. It looked ancient. The print was old-fashioned, slightly faded. It read WBULLAM, the voice of the void, keeping you between the lines since 1954. And below that, in smaller letters, request line. Just scream. I flipped it over. Scrawled on the back in what looked like hurried handwriting was a personal note. "Drive easy, brother. I've got the graveyard shift covered." Just then, a tiny voice piped up from the back seat. It was my daughter. She giggled and said, "Daddy," the guitar man says hi. The sun finally started to peek over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The fog began to burn off, revealing the breathtaking beauty of the mountains. Needing to stretch my legs and process the night's events, I pulled over at a scenic overlook. An old man was already there, leaning against the stone wall, looking out at the valley below. He had a kind, weathered face and a long gray beard. In his hands, he cradled a beautifully crafted guitar and etched into the wood were the letters H.G. He must have seen me staring, because he turned and gave me a warm, knowing chuckle. "You look like you've had a long night, friend," he said, his voice gentle and calm. I found myself telling him everything: the car drifting, the radio, the phantom on the road, the business card. He just nodded along, not a hint of surprise on his face. "Ah, old Boogie," he said, smiling. "Don't you worry about him. He's just the messenger." He then explained a cosmic circuit that my sleep-deprived brain struggled to comprehend. He pointed a finger towards the brightening sky. "It starts way out there," he said, "with a fella I call Zero Antarctica. He plucks tunes right from the starlight and sends them down. Then, Boogie the Bull Shoals Boogie Man, he catches those signals from beyond the veil and broadcasts them to folks like you who need to hear them. And me?" He patted his guitar. "I'm the hillbilly guitar dude. I just stay here on the ground, keeping the vibration steady, making sure the song stays true." It was a lot to take in. A ghost DJ, a cosmic musician, and this earthy anchor keeping it all together. I thanked him for the story, feeling a strange sense of peace settle over me. As I turned to walk back to my car, I glanced over my shoulder to say one last goodbye. But he was gone. The overlook was empty, except for one small object left glinting on the stone wall where he had been standing. I walked over and picked it up. It was a guitar pick, but it wasn't made of plastic. It shimmered with an otherworldly cosmic glow, warm to the touch. I closed my hand around it, realizing the Ozarks were filled with secrets far deeper than I ever imagined. And now, finally, I was in on the song. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the road. Stay safe out there.